Good morning, class 10 students. I welcome you all on this online platform of Jagrati classes. We were doing chapter 6, that is life processes. And in the last class, I told you difference between breathing and respiration. So I hope now you will not use both the terms for the same. Okay, the process of breathing, which involves inhalation and exhalation. Then we have the process of respiration. Respiration is the breakdown of complex materials into simpler forms and the liberation of energy. In respiration, in the presence of oxygen, breakdown occurs and we have the product, that is energy is released. So now we will be doing breathing mechanism. That is, firstly we will see how this breathing occurs and then we will see about the process of respiration. So breathing, I already told you, it is the movement of air inside and outside the body, or you can say inside and outside the lungs. So for understanding breathing, we have to understand first that how this air moves inside and outside. That is, the first topic to understand in breathing would be the passage of air. Passage of air means the air travels through which body parts, which body organs to reach the lungs, and what is the path involved. So we are doing the passage of air. For understanding the passage of air, you can see this diagram. Okay, this diagram actually says that this is of human respiratory system. But today we are dealing with breathing now. And to understand breathing, you have to see that how the passage of air is involved. So what you have first is the first part, that is nose, and in this you have two openings which is called nostrils. So air enters our body through these nostrils. So while writing the passage of air, we will see that the first entry is through the nostrils. Then after passing through these nostrils, the air enters to this larynx, and this larynx is also called your voice box. Because this larynx undergoes vibration, it is a cartilaginous flap-like structure, it vibrates to produce sound. It contains vocal cords which help in the production of sound. So after entering from the nose, the air goes inside the larynx and then the air passes down through this trachea, and this trachea is commonly called the windpipe. After passing down through the trachea, you can see that this trachea divides into two tubules. That is, you have your nostrils and then you have larynx. Let's suppose this is the entry passage, that is nostrils. Then you have your voice box, larynx here. Then after larynx, this tubular structure is called trachea, which is also generally called the windpipe. After trachea, as you can see in the diagram, this trachea divides into two tubules, two smaller tubules, which is like this. The division of trachea, that is your windpipe, occurs in the form of two further smaller tubules, and these tubules are called bronchi. Okay? Plural word is bronchi, used to refer both the tubules, and the singular word, you can say that one single this tubule is called this bronchus. So bronchi means I am referring to both these tubules. These bronchi now enter each lungs. One bronchi enters the right one and the other bronchi enters the left lung. And then inside the lungs, it further gets divided into much smaller tubules. These are called bronchioles. That is, you had your trachea or windpipe first. It divided into two small tubules which are combinedly called bronchi, or referring to the single, you can name it as bronchus. This bronchus, further see, it is dividing into these smaller, very fine tubules, and these are called the bronchiole. So after entering the lungs, okay, when this enter your lungs, it gets divided into thinner and thinner tubules, and these thin tubules are called bronchioles. Then next you have what? These bronchioles, they terminate into or they end into a sac-like, or you can say a bag-like structure. This structure is called alveoli. And in the respiratory system, this alveoli is the main location or the main region where exchange of gases occur. So we'll study this alveoli in great detail now. So this is what a structure, a rough sketch, and this is the exact diagram of your respiratory passage. So now let's write it down. We were doing the passage of air. So for this, you can say that air enters from the nostrils. Nostrils are the pores or opening for the entry and exit of air. Then after nostrils, where does this air go? This air enters your nasal passage, okay? After nostrils, you have nasal passage. That is, these openings are your nostrils, and this passage is called the nasal passage or nasal cavity. So it enters through the nostrils and then comes into the nasal passage. If I show you with a different marker, this would be the nasal passage. So nasal passage, it contains very fine hairs and mucus. And what is the function of the presence of hair and mucus in the nasal passage? These helps in the filtration, or you can say in the purifying. They purify the air which is entering, because these hairs and mucus trap all the dust particles, all the pollutants which are present in the inhaled air. Or we can say that they help in filtration by trapping all sorts of microbes and impurities present in your inhaled air. Impurities may be in the form of dust, smoke, anything, or it may be in the form of any microbe, bacteria. So the function of this nasal passage is the filtration and purification of air. It also has one more function, that is the nasal passage helps in warming the inhaled air. That is, the air which is inhaled, when it passes inside our trachea through this nasal passage, the nasal passage decreases or increases the temperature of the inhaled air by 3 to 5 degrees. So it has two functions. First one is to purify the air which is inhaled, and second one is it provides or it increases the temperature of inhaled air. Then next, what was the next? The nostrils were the entry point or the exit point. Then the air entered the nasal passage. From the nasal passage, the air enters your trachea. Trachea is a organ or a transportation system. Same, just we observed the function of esophagus when we discussed the human digestive system. Similar function is carried by trachea. Trachea in general sense is also called windpipe. Okay? And this trachea, the important feature of this trachea is what? It contains C-shaped rings made of cartilage. Or you can say that it contains C-shaped cartilaginous rings. So if I try to draw the rings in this, the rough diagram, then the rings are present in this manner, okay? So these C-shaped rings are present inside the trachea, and these rings are not made up of any bone. This is made up of cartilage. So in trachea you have C-shaped rings made up of cartilage. So why do we need such rings in the trachea? Because these rings help in, or we can write, these rings help to prevent trachea from collapsing when no air is present inside our trachea or the respiratory tract. That is, when this trachea do not have any air in it, it should collapse. But these cartilaginous ring prevent the trachea from collapsing out. Collapsing means breaking down, okay? So after this trachea, what do we have next? See, we have done that our air passed through nostrils. Then here was the nasal passage, which contains hairs and mucus. Then you have larynx, which is called voice box. We are not given in detail about the functioning of larynx or the structure of larynx. So just remember the name, that larynx is called voice box. It contains vocal cords, and in turn, when the air passes through this larynx, the vocal cord vibrate and we can speak or the sound is produced. Then you have trachea, that is your windpipe, and trachea contains C-shaped cartilaginous rings which prevent the trachea from collapsing. Then this trachea divides into two smaller tubules which are referred as bronchi. So here, after trachea, the next would be bronchi. Bronchi are the division of trachea into two tubules. Bronchi, you can write that bronchi are the two small tubules formed by trachea. That is, your windpipe or trachea divides into two parts and form this bronchi. And bronchi is used for both the tubules. If you are dealing with a single tubule, you will write bronchus. So next what? This bronchi, when it enters into the lungs. Now you have this bronchi, when it enters into your lungs, it further gets divided into many smaller tubules. And these bronchi enter into lungs and they form bronchioles. Bronchioles were what? Let's see in the diagram. When your bronchi entered into your lungs, this bronchi got divided into smaller fine tubules, and these small tubules were called bronchioles. You can also see in the diagram, these are your fine tubules or thin tubules which are called bronchioles. So bronchioles are the thin tubules found in lungs. These bronchioles are present inside the lungs. Next, the last part what you have after bronchioles would be the alveoli. And this alveoli is what? It is a sac-shaped or bag-like structure which is present at the termination point of bronchioles. Termination means at the end of the bronchiole, these bronchioles form a bag-like structure which is called alveoli. So bag-like structure present at the termination site. Termination means the end. Termination site of bronchioles. You can see this in the diagram also, that this we had are bronchioles, and these bronchioles in the end they formed a bag-like structure, and this bag-like structure is called your alveoli. And in this alveoli, a very important function, that is exchange of gases occur. Whenever you inhale air, then the air now passes through these various respiratory paths or organs and finally reaches the alveoli. When the air reaches this alveoli, then here the exchange of gases takes place. We'll see how the exchange occurs. Okay, we'll see this in detail when we'll discuss the mechanism of respiration. But now we are doing breathing. Remember, what I'm telling you is about breathing. Breathing is movement of air inside and outside your body. Then we said that first in breathing, the first part which we are studying is the passage of air. That is how this external air present in the environment enters our body. What is its path? So I have told you the first one would be nostrils, then comes nasal passage, then the air comes into trachea, then from this trachea the air enters into bronchi, and then when this bronchi enter into lungs, they are subdivided into smaller fine tubules called your bronchioles, and after these bronchioles they form a sac-like structure towards their end point, and this sac-like structure is called alveoli. Now this alveoli is also called the respiratory unit of your lungs, because this part is only responsible, I have written it in the previous slide, this is the location where exchange of gases occur. That is what, if you inhale oxygen inside and then you want that after exhalation, the carbon dioxide present in your body should be expelled out or released out. Then the air containing oxygen will enter and pass through the passage which we discussed recently, and after reaching this alveoli, the exchange between oxygen and carbon dioxide would occur. And after the exchange, the air containing carbon dioxide will follow the same reverse path. Okay, that is from alveoli it would enter to bronchiole, then to the bronchus, then to the trachea, and passing from the larynx and nasal passage, it will be released out from the nostrils. So this is the passage of air, that is how air travels inside and outside your body. And then I told you that in the alveoli you have the exchange of gases, that is exchange between oxygen and CO2 occurs in this alveoli, and in turn this alveoli is also called the respiratory unit. It is the very important part of our respiratory system. So this is a whole summary about passage of air. This was the first part which we discussed. The next which we will see in breathing, this would be your second part of the topic breathing. So now we will see what do you mean by inhalation, and let's discuss exhalation also simultaneously. So now we will see a detail about inhalation and exhalation. Firstly, inhalation and exhalation are studied under the process of breathing. That is, both these processes come under your breathing mechanism, not under respiration. So in inhalation, the first point would be, inhalation means entry of air inside the body, or you can say it is the process of taking the air inside the lungs. Whereas exhalation, here the prefix ex means to expel out or to exit. So this is the exit, or you can say the expellation of air outside, expellation of the air or exit of air from the lungs to outside, or you can say to the nearby surroundings or to the environment. So this was a brief definition. What do you mean by inhalation and exhalation? Inhalation means inhalation, taking the air inside. Exhalation means you are expelling or releasing the air outside in the environment. Then the next is, what are the conditions or what changes you observe in the structure of ribs, lungs, etc. when inhalation occurs, and what are the conditions required for exhalation. So for inhalation, what do we do is, the lung cavity, that is the volume of lungs, increases. Okay, because if we want to favor inhalation, these are the conditions which I am writing which would occur, and then it would be possible for you to inhale the air. So the first is the volume of lung cavity. Lung cavity means the space of lungs, it would increase. Now the next condition would be diaphragm becomes flat. Diaphragm, you can see in the diagram itself, this red muscular structure, this is a sheet of muscle present below your lungs. It is called diaphragm, and you can see the original shape of diaphragm is dome shape. Diaphragm is originally dome shaped, that is the shape of diaphragm is in the form of dome, curved. Okay, dome shape means a curved shape. But if we want to do inhalation, the cavity of lungs, that is the space present inside the lungs, would swell up or would enlarge. This diaphragm, it would become flat. Why this diaphragm becomes flat? Because when this will become flat, what would we get? The space, that is the vertical space, will also increase because now diaphragm is present in a curved form. Once it becomes flat, it would empty the space. So we have that the diaphragm becomes flat. The next condition which we have is lung cavity would increase, diaphragm would become flat, your ribs will be lifted up. Okay, the ribs get lifted to create space. Because of all these conditions, what we have as a final condition, that is when the lung cavity increases, your diaphragm becomes flat, the ribs get lifted. As a result of all these conditions, pressure within means inside, pressure within the lungs decreases and volume or space inside the lungs, volume of lungs will increase. So we are saying that because of these all conditions, your thoracic volume, okay, you can divide an organism, that is the respiratory system is present in your thorax. The upper part is called thorax, then comes the abdomen where you have your gut, intestine, everything. So the upper body, that is also known as thoracic cavity or thorax, the volume of this thorax would be increased because diaphragm is becoming flat, everything which we discussed. These all will lead to increase in volume, or you can say increase in the space, and because the space will increase and as a result the pressure will decrease. So now you have two conditions, that is you have enlarged space, and because the space has increased, the pressure of air which is present has decreased. And because we know that air will flow as a process of diffusion, and diffusion is movement of anything, gas, solid, anything from higher concentration to the lower concentration. So because we have decreased pressure, so you can say that concentration of air present in the lungs is very low compared to external, and as a result through the process of diffusion you can say, okay, to understand, the air present outside in the environment will come inside your lungs. So we can say because the pressure decreases compared to the pressure outside, that is compared to the pressure of environment, this pressure difference inside our body and in the environment, it would cause the air present outside to move into the lungs, and as a result inhalation would occur. This you can see. Just the reverse of this is the process of exhalation. So let's write it down. The lung cavity, or you can say volume of lung cavity, will decrease because now we want that the space should be decreased or reduced, because if we reduce the space then the pressure of the air will increase, okay, and the pressure will be more as compared to the pressure present in the environment, which as a result will cause exhalation. That is, air will move from a region of higher pressure which is inside your body to the region of lower pressure which is in the environment. So what we have, I hope this is clear, okay. We are doing breathing. First we saw the passage of air. Next in breathing we saw that what do you mean by inhalation and exhalation. This everything is given in your books, but it is in a scattered manner. So I am trying to make it in a systematic manner or in the form of these descriptive flow charts or diagrams. And we are writing it in points rather than writing the whole as a paragraph. because this comparative account would be easier to learn. So next is what? In this, the diaphragm became flat and the space increased. But here what do we have? The diaphragm will again become dome shaped because our aim is to reduce the space. So here, diaphragm becomes dome shaped again. For dome shaped, you can also write that it attains its curved shape. Okay, that is, diaphragm attains its original or initial curved shape. Then the next would be reverse of this. In this, the ribs are lifted up, and here what do we have? The ribs will move downwards. If you have understood one column, that is of inhalation, then you can just reverse the point and these would be your answer for exhalation. And the fifth point we'll write in short. Now what would happen to the pressure and what would happen to the volume of lungs? So telling about the pressure or telling about the volume, because diaphragm is becoming dome shaped, the lung cavity is reducing in size, so the volume of lungs would decrease or reduce. And if the size reduces, then the pressure will increase. Okay? The pressure will increase in amount. And then you can write it down that because of reduction in the volume of lungs, or even better to write that there is reduction in the volume of thoracic cavity. Thoracic cavity is the part where whole of your respiratory system is present, the upper part of body of organism. That is, you can divide organism into various regions. The first one would be your head part, then comes thorax or thoracic cavity, then comes abdominal, and likewise we have different parts. So you can say that because the volume of thoracic cavity reduces or decreases, and the pressure of air present inside the lungs increases, so the air is released out in the environment. So this completes your inhalation and exhalation topic, which is included in breathing. So this was whole account of breathing. And now one important term, that is ribs here. What do you mean by ribs? Actually these ribs we study when we deal with skeletal system. So ribs are the external covering which cover your lungs. Okay? You can see in this diagram, this side refers to the internal structure of your lungs, while the next side, that is the right hand side, see here the ribs are mentioned. So this is external view of lungs. So you can see that this we have seen. This is trachea, it is dividing into fine tubules. Okay, this is the inside view of lungs. Here I have mentioned the external view or the outer view. From the outside, see you have these bone-like structures, and it is in the form of network or cage. So it is also called as rib cage. So these are the bones which are present around your lungs, as you can see, and these ribs, they protect your lungs because lungs are very delicate muscular organs. So these bony structures, rib, protect your lungs from injuries and mechanical shocks. So you can see that these ribs, they will move differently in the case of inhalation and exhalation. So this is what you mean by the term ribs. And because if we'll be dealing with skeletal system in detail, then we'll see what do you have, how many pairs of bones are comprising, and these, in fact, these ribs are called floating ribs. If you have done this in your junior classes, okay? So these are number of bones in a network or cage-like manner, which are called ribs or rib cage. Their function is the protection of lungs from external injuries or external mechanical shocks. So this was all about inhalation, exhalation, and then we did this is again a structure, that is your inside and external view of lungs. This completes your breathing mechanism or the breathing, how the process of breathing occurs, what are the different types of breathing, what you have or you observe. Now next what we will be doing would be respiration. We have completed breathing. In breathing, the first topic which we saw was passage of air. The next topic which we saw was inhalation and exhalation, their comparative account. Then we'll start with respiration. So again reminding you the definition of respiration. Respiration, it is the process of breakdown. Respiration is a process of breakdown of complex materials into simpler forms and this breakdown always occurs in the presence of oxygen. So it occurs in the presence of oxygen, and so this is also called oxidative breakdown or oxidative cleavage. And then these simpler forms help in generation, or you can write production of energy. So this you have as the process of respiration. Respiration is the breakdown of complex materials into simpler forms in the presence of oxygen, and these simpler forms are then absorbed by the body and they help in the formation or production of energy. The energy produced in these, it is also called as cellular respiration, okay? Because the process of respiration occurs inside each cell present in your body. So we can say that it is also called as cellular respiration. Why it is called as cellular respiration? Because this process of respiration, this process of breakdown in the presence of oxygen occurs inside each and every individual cells, and so it is named as cellular respiration. Next we will study that if this cellular respiration occurs inside each cell, then it may be classified or it may be divided into two parts or two divisions. That is, you have two kinds of respiration. The first one is aerobic respiration, and the next comes anaerobic respiration. In aerobic respiration, what do you have? The process of respiration, when this occurs in the presence of oxygen, you call it to be aerobic respiration. And anaerobic respiration occurs in the absence of oxygen. Now the next differentiating point would be, in the process of aerobic respiration, large amount of energy is produced. Whereas compared to this anaerobic respiration, you only get small amount of energy. And the last point which you can write is the examples, the different examples you can include in this. Aerobic respiration, it occurs in higher forms. Higher means well developed or the advanced forms. Whereas the process of anaerobic respiration, it occurs in simple, or you can write more appropriately primitive forms or primitive species, okay? Or you can say primitive organism. Primitive or simple means which are not developed, that is some of your unicellular organisms, they undergo the process of anaerobic respiration, whereas these developed forms like humans, vertebrates and many other organisms and plants, they undergo the process of aerobic respiration. So this was a difference between aerobic and anaerobic. And you can write the differentiating points. Aerobic respiration occurs in the presence of oxygen. Then it occurs in the higher forms, and in aerobic respiration, large amount of energy is generated. Whereas compared to anaerobic respiration, this occurs in your primitive forms, that is primitive plants and animals, and as a result, because it occurs in absence of oxygen, so less amount of energy is being generated. Now in the next class, we will be dealing with the mechanism of respiration. That is, how does this process of respiration occurs or takes place. So till then, we have completed breathing in this class, and I have given you introduction about respiration. Now if you have any sort of doubts, you can ask us. Till then, thank you for joining the class today. Stay home, stay safe.